The following is a fictitious episode in the lives of two make-believe hobos. The characters and events you hear are not real. Don't freak out.
Just a tip, skittle bip, boon bip, skittle bip, boop bip, beat bop bip, boop bip.
Welcome to my holiday store. We are kind of running out of business. We don't have anything happening in January. This fucking sucks. Why can't it be February? Why can't it be March? Why can't even it be April? Piss off January. You are so hairy. You ruin my life. My wife doesn't touch me no more. She calls me a man whore because I love the holidays so much. It's ruining my marriage. My kids don't talk to me no more. It makes me feel so sore right under my skin.
Oh, is that why you're leaning back like that now, away from the microphone?
Yeah, this is a bad situation, fellas.
Sorry, Scurbs. Thank you for. Sorry to hear about your wife too and your kids. That's really.
Yeah, thanks for making this episode a fucking bummer as soon as it starts.
Downer right out of the gate, man. I mean,
I just don't have a whole lot going on with myself anymore.
It's all right. It's all right. Just take it easy, bud.
Why? Why can't there be a decent holiday in January?
I know it really would be nice. We have Martin Luther King Day though. That's coming around.
That's not a holiday. That's a person.
I guess you're right. It doesn't really.
Yeah, no one really takes off for Martin Luther King Day anymore.
They don't. It's
kind of seen as a taboo thing because it's like, hey, here's this guy that worked real fucking hard.
He
for
worked.
something.
What are you gonna do? You gonna take a day off? What have you done?
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, you're right. You don't celebrate that. We just go to work. That's how we do it.
I'm gonna go lie down now.
Okay,
as long as you guys don't mess up the store too much, you can stay as long as you want.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Skirps.
Listen, I'll get you back for these ice cream sandwiches too. By the way, these are really great.
It's fine. I have 6 boxes of them.
Oh, Scurvy. Yeah, he is a very kind store owner in the city of Chicago on the west side around Logan Square area, and
yeah, we usually play poker with him on Wednesdays, but you know, considering the fact that he's been so down in the dumps and he doesn't make any fucking money during January, he seems like he's a sad sack.
Yeah, so we haven't had him around for the poker, and we thought we'd include.
And his coffee sucks too.
Scurvs. Yeah, it's the instant stuff. He just pours it out of a pack. It's fucking astronaut food, man. It's bad.
Yuck.
But anyway, though, hi. We are the Boxcar Buddies. I'm Don.
I'm Greg.
We're talking to you this week as you just heard from the inside of a convenience store in Chicago, and Scurvy's allowed us now to stick around here. And what Greg and I like to do is normally we have boxcars, or we'll we've the last couple of months, so I feel like we've been around to different places. We've been on a boat. We were in Scotland recently. We
were in a pool.
Yeah, we were in
electrocuted
a pool.
Me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not on purpose. We were, it was all fun and games, splashing, and I kind of just got caught up in that, and I forgot about the equipment, and you were wearing the headphones, and yeah, so not a very graceful move on my part. I'll fully admit that. But what Greg and I do wherever we meet up is we like to talk to each other about content in whatever form that might take. If you haven't joined us before,
sometimes it can be shapeless. Boundless, even.
Yes. Yeah, no rules. Just all we care about is just a good story, good characters.
And ourselves.
Yeah, we care about ourselves, too.
Yeah. Really, numero uno here is numero uno.
Greg is number 1. I'm number 1.5. I'll take one and a deuce, 1.5 there, I guess.
But, so you think you're better than me because you're half a point higher?
Well, I have 2 full functioning arms, 2 bio arms.
I'm almost there.
You are almost there. You should actually.
I'm a quarter of the way there.
You actually should be 1.5 because you have like half of your arm up to the elbow now.
I think I'm at 75, 80% right now. Then I'll be back to a full 1.
It's Chrome. If you haven't, if this is your first time joining us, Greg has.
I'm a cyborg.
He's a cyborg. He had his arms ripped off by someone we know, Gollum, and
a rogue creation.
Yeah, he's who is marrying another creation of Greg's coming up soon. Greg's former robot companion.
Glad to see that they're still, in the realm of getting married, considering that they became betrothed,
long time ago.
Almost a year ago.
It's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know how it is though. Some people just love to be engaged.
I know.
I'm
like, fucking get over yourselves.
You can't
just end it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Either break apart or seal your fate of getting married, but don't linger in this fake happy zone.
Don't be in marriage
forever.
limbo, you fucking cowards.
Yeah. What you're trying to do is you're trying to stay in paradise, and it just doesn't last. It's fake. All right. So don't
just like everything else.
Don't spread your fake happiness at us. Oh, we're engaged. You've been engaged for fucking 2 years. Seal the deal or break apart. All right. So that's what I would say to Gollum and Sex Robot anyway. But, some people do. They're going to do what they do, and we can't do anything about it. They're adults and they do weird stuff, but we do weird stuff too. I guess.
Robot's only one.
Robot's only
one.
He's only 1 year old.
Yeah.
Wow. He's already getting married. They got. I think Gollum put out. He's putting out that album. They're gonna get a house.
I always knew that Gollum was a predator, but
that is really. I mean, this is way beyond statutory.
Fresh off the assembly line.
Yeah, totally. This is Gollum. He does have a type.
I mean, I did see him go after toasters before I ever created Sex Robot.
He likes his fish really young too. He talked about that, like to eat them. He's like,
That's why he eats caviar, not even out of the egg.
It's just that's what he's into. Yeah, he looks for the young stuff. But yeah,
he's disgusting. But you know what is also disgusting? Us.
We're disgusting too.
Yeah.
But especially disgusting in our ruthless pursuit of a good story. And for that, we turn to any method that is available to us. Movies, music, books, video games, streaming.
Sometimes a street window. Mm-hmm. The back of a cab.
Look into somebody's life.
The trunk of a cab. Mm-hmm. The trunk of a car.
Yeah. Pick out a person just out in the city and then follow them for a couple of days. See what their life is like.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's
Find out their story, because sometimes they're more interesting than your own.
Oh, absolutely. And that's half the fun of escaping into a story, is just jumping out of your own for a minute, learning some stuff, even if you don't have to learn, just being entertained, just to escape. And that's what Greg and I like to do, because we don't really have many places. We don't have any places we have to be. We only go places we want to be, because we're free. We're homeless dudes. We don't have any...
we're free. Free falling.
Free falling, and and that's what we do. And what I did, in order to consume some of this content, this is something that I watched over a long period of time, over several visits between Scummies, between the Stony Island feeders, even Chuck, our congested friend from the East Coast.
Oh, the dude that is like Solid Snake if he had an infectious cold.
Yes, the definition of a mouth breather, like that. Chuck. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
that
but
guy.
that dude is sneaky.
He is sneaky.
For a heavy breather, like, you don't hear him coming until he is next to you.
In your ear, exactly. That's the first time you hear him. But yeah, so I watched it with them, even Raj a little bit. But so this was, I watched a whole series over the course of several weeks, even, probably a couple of months too. And I just figured I'd bring it up to you now because it left an impact. And that series is in the Star Trek universe.
Oh, boy.
Deep Space Nine is the series that I watched.
69.
That's right, yeah.
These jokes write themselves, boys.
Big bang, boom.
We got them big jokes. We got them good jokes. We got them fast jokes. We are lightning fast.
They're coming. Left out of
Here comes that punchline, right in your jawline.
In the kisser.
Right into your teeth.
Down goes the show.
But yeah, so I watched Deep Space Nine, and
wow,
it was it was so I know I've talked to you before, Greg, about The Next Generation. That's the Star Trek universe.
I haven't made mine yet. I haven't found the right one yet.
Understandable. You have to pick the right one. It's
before the next generation's created.
Exactly. This is still your generation, so don't think about the next one. It's like, hey, I'm still doing stuff.
Listen,
for me.
I'm talking about my generation.
Yeah, I'm doing stuff for me right now. You guys can worry about yourselves when you get there. But anyway, though, so Star Trek universe obviously spans multiple series, multiple movies, TV shows and mini-series and all of that. I have seen very little of it. The only series of it that I've seen was The Next Generation. Even the original series, I haven't watched much of it. The movies with the original cast, like James Kirk and Spock and all that, which are supposed to be very classic and the basis for much of the spin-offs, I haven't seen those. So The Next Generation with Patrick Stewart and all that was kind of my first exposure to it, and I really liked it, as I mentioned earlier. But Deep Space Nine is different. And I've, in talking with other people who have seen much more Star Trek than I, and looking at like forums online when I'm able to, it seems that Deep Space Nine is sort of like an oddity, even in the Star Trek realm. And the way I thought of it, it lasts 7 seasons. It ran from 1993 to 1999. And the way I began to think of it is in my head was almost as if like Star Wars and Star Trek were in a Venn diagram. Deep Space Nine would occupy that middle space, the overlapping between the two. And
it's more of like it's got more goofy like fantasy elements to it
fantasy.
than
that's
people
what
sitting in a room going, how should we go through with this plan?
Technobabble, the machine, and that's
I believe if we touch down on that planet, that they will probably rip us asunder.
But there is an element in the air that makes it difficult to breathe. Not if I change our emitters in our uniforms.
I'm hungry. Me want to go down the planet.
Get back in the brig, Brog. Yeah, but so that's
wow. We just reenacted an entire episode of
I think that was the movie, the third
Star
movie.
Trek.
Yeah, that was the third movie.
I don't
in the
know
original.
any of the characters besides Picard.
Yeah,
because I don't know shit about Star Trek. So
exactly. I know.
This conversation is already just going like,
I can see your eyes glazing over when I said
like
Star
our
Trek.
favorite character, Balgrog.
Yes.
Me hungry. Me want to go down planet.
Let's see here. You know what? Here, I was going to save this ice cream sandwich for myself. Why don't you have that last one? And
thank you.
I'll just go on this tangent here. But so deep,
cold.
not too fast. You can't do it too fast, man. Groggy, brain freeze. Anyway, though, so Deep Space Nine, it does have fantasy elements. That's if there's the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars. If you're not familiar with either, Star Trek is very clearly sci-fi. It's like the definition of the sci-fi genre. Star Wars is more fantasy.
Star Wars is just fucking knights in shining armor, but wearing fucking robes with laser swords.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it just takes place in space, and that's why people who aren't familiar with it might mistakenly attribute it to the sci-fi genre, but it's not. Star Wars is pure fantasy. But Deep Space Nine is a blend of sci-fi and fantasy, and it is that way because this series, as Next Generation takes place on the Starship Enterprise, traveling all throughout space and exploring, Deep Space Nine takes place on a space station, stationary next to a wormhole, and the wormhole is a doorway between space quadrants, right? Like the Gamma Quadrant.
So it's basically
and the Delta.
a big giant spaceport.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it just all kinds of wacky shenanigans with all these travelers.
People come through.
I'm a traveling merchant.
Yes.
And oh no, I've lost my flim-floms.
Yes, absolutely.
We
have flim-floms here.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a good episode.
Why don't you come to Quark's and have a drink of some Klingon swill? Yeah.
Wow, this Technicolor-colored drink is quite fascinating.
Technobabble. Yeah.
Wow, I love all that fucking science talk.
But Deep Space Nine, it still has the sci-fi elements of Star Trek, but it is also intensely fixated on religion. Religion's a huge part of it because the closest planet to this space station is called it's Bajor. It's called Bajor, and so the Bajoran people believe that the wormhole is a temple of their gods, and the gods, they call them the prophets. And the captain, the commander of this space station, they believe him to be a figure of religious legend called the emissary. He's Jesus Christ for them. He's the voice of the prophets. So
Wait, so they think that these spaceport people are fucking gods?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
No, not the spaceport people. The people who live in the wormhole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So it's and they think the captain of the space station is like a voice of the prophets, that he's like this intense religious
Space
figure.
Jesus, right now I need you to give us all your water and food supplies because that will feed the wormhole gods.
Why are you bringing me bread and fish? I didn't ask for these. I don't like them.
I don't like these car ornaments shaped like fish to put on the back of my car.
I never bought into that. I don't know where that came from. But so it is like that.
It's Presbyterian, not pescatarian, you fucking idiot. Learn the difference. All right, I'm going to teach you basic English as I'm your messiah.
Sit all around me, you children.
Sit in a circle and it's story time. I brought my Bible.
Yeah, it's okay. So it's kind of like this. Obviously, then there's, as you mentioned, it's a port station. So all these people come through all the time. But what's nice is that it's hard for me to to recommend Deep Space Nine, or I mean Star Trek in general, because it's such a massive undertaking. It's daunting. It's such a huge world. It's like
the nerdiest show ever created.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Oh, what? You think
Doctor
Big Bang
Who?
Theory is
No. I was gonna
Doctor
say
Who has so much ridiculous, comedic shit to it that it kind of negates it being, wow, how serious and subtle with it.
Or what about the X-Files? You know, like that's
the X-Files can be pretty fucking goofy too. Remember that episode a guy got killed by a swarm of bees?
Actually,
because he kept like an entire comb of demon bees inside his fucking house.
I'm not at all familiar with the X-Files.
Get fucking stupid.
Well, and
everything that I've seen of Star Trek, like, yeah, it can be stupid, but 90% of it is like garble of like, here's the philosophy of these planets. What's war philosophy? What's science, technology, stuff like that.
You're right. And so the techno babble that I keep saying, like, that's a method that the scriptwriters use in order to make that's their language. Like everything they talk about in terms of their devices, and they make up all these, ways of travel and
their
problems.
Dialogue's written like a fucking Wikipedia article.
Yeah, but once you, just like any other show, like I know we talked about Spartacus too, right? And like that show is
big hanging donkeys.
Yeah, and it's Spartacus, like the dialogue is like, it's like Shakespearean, and like everyone has like an English accent, and it's like goofy. But the thing is that, so you watch the first episode and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like everybody sounds like but you settle into it. You know what I mean? After 2 or 3 episodes, you fall into that rhythm. And the same thing happens with Star Trek. Once you get used to the technobabble as their language, you see through it, because it doesn't matter what device they're talking about or which planet they're talking about or the people. It's all devices to drive the plot forward. It's all like, there's a problem, we need a solution, and how are we going to get to it? And everything else, it's just written around that. So, but the philosophy and like the situations that they get into in terms of new cultures or whatever, that's kind of like what the real draw is. Those are the gems of those episodes, the debates that they have throughout the series. And in Deep Space Nine in particular, the reason I say it's hard to recommend is because the whole thing is obviously daunting, but Deep Space Nine in particular, it's a 7-season show that doesn't really start to get good, and I mean really good, until like season 4. So you're talking about 3 seasons of TV that are important for the later ones to be good. You need the context of the earlier stuff in order to like get the payoff that comes later. But to have to wade through those first 3 seasons of not great writing, not great chemistry between the characters, the development of those characters, and but the thing is that's the sweetest part of the show. That was the payoff. Deep Space Nine's character development is some of the best I've seen in many shows. There's these guys that there's 2 characters in particular. The engineer, oh boy, I can't believe I'm blanking his name. No, I'm Nick. I think it's McBride. I think, but yeah,
Danny McBride.
No, it's Cole Meany is the actor, and he's the he crossed over from Next Generation to Deep Space Nine.
Expanded universe sounds so fascinating.
I know, it's nice, but anyway, he and the Doctor of Deep Space Nine, like, they hate each other, and there's early episodes that are like, they're not well written, but it's clear that those 2 characters don't like each other. Over the course of 7 seasons, their relationship is explored, it grows, it develops, and at the in the last season, they're best friends, and they know each other so well. There's even an episode where they joke that the Doctor knows the engineer better than the engineer's wife does, and it's like,
ooh, that must cause some tension.
It causes a little bit of drama. Yeah,
well, my friend can find my prostate faster than you can.
We've been married for 20 years, and you haven't touched that thing ever.
You still haven't found it yet.
All you care about is that damn kid. Yeah, but so the character development is the sweetest part, and what happens in Deep Space Nine is that all there's a lot of different alien races, and with this wormhole being a portal between quadrants, it becomes like that spaceport is like some of the most valuable real estate in space, and everybody's trying to get it. So this war happens between the alien species. The Cardassians hate the Bajorans, and Deep Space Nine is caught in the middle. And so for seasons 4 through 7, that's what's going on, and it's because of the development and the early exposition in seasons 1 through 3, the payoffs from 4 through 7 are excellent. I mean, there's a string of just like 2 seasons of really great TV, and I mean, it's good, but it's so hard to it's so hard to tell anybody, yeah, just get to the good stuff, but you just got to get through 3 shitty seasons first. There's so much, as we've talked about, there's so much content out there. It's like unrealistic a lot of the time to expect people to kind of make that kind of investment of time to jump into a series like that. However, I would, if you feel so inclined, and if that seems like something you'd be interested in, Deep Space Nine has all the philosophical goodness of the Star Trek universe that you would know. The character development is, again, some of the best I've seen. There are no throwaway characters. Every single one on that space station there are kids, young, like kids of the commander and of one of the Ferengi who like run this bar, right? They're kids. They're introduced in the early seasons, and you're just like, oh my god, these are clearly like, why should I care? Like, these guys are
and then they become
nobody.
Like the most integral characters to the entire show.
Well, they become something. They become 3-dimensional. One becomes a reporter. The Ferengi joins Starfleet, and he actually he's the first Ferengi who joined Starfleet. It's just that.
How many seasons was Deep Space Nine?
7. So, yeah, 7 seasons. Yeah. So
and Star Trek goes on for so fucking long.
And what's interesting is that so the Next Generation ran from 87 to 1994-ish. And in the early night, it did so well that it spun off Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Those both ran simultaneously in the 90s. And then, some other one. It's just been going pretty consistently
Star
since
Trek will
then.
Never die.
Yeah,
it owns TV.
CBS. That's all CBS is doing right now is Star Trek shows.
Or that fucking what's it called? The Seth MacFarlane. Space show.
The Orville. Yeah, that's right, on Fox.
The Orville Redenbacher.
I've heard mixed things about that, but anyway, though.
Yeah, I'm not fucking surprised if
it's Seth MacFarlane with living out his Star Trek fantasy.
Wow,
yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna do all the same jokes that I've already made in Family Guy for the last 15 years.
But now it's not animated, and everyone's just going to look at my face all the time.
And now here's the musical number.
But anyway, so Deep Space Nine, if you're inclined to take that plunge, it is rewarding. Like I said, I mean, all of that, the same Star Trek goodness, but with the religious angle. The characters are great. You come to care about all of them. And there's a shapeshifter character who's, his whole culture and dealing with the solids and all of that. And there's a Bajoran who is like the first officer of the space station, and she's always conflicted between her loyalty to her planet and her people and Starfleet.
And then Hungry Balgrog, who stops by the bar every day going,
me want sample platter.
It's funny. There is a character in Deep Space Nine who he never speaks, but this is an example of the development that they do. That character is there through all 7 seasons. Not constantly, but it's one of those guys where it's just when you're in the bar, when you're in Quarks, he's sitting at the bar. And someone, you'll come into a scene and someone's got their arm around his shoulder and they're telling him a story. And then their attention gets pulled away over here. This character's name is Morn, and he never speaks throughout the entire series. In one of the later seasons, they gave him a whole episode of where everyone else is talking about him. They think he died, and they give him this amazing backstory. He's got a hot wife. He was a CIA agent. All of this crazy stuff, and then he faked his death, and he comes back at the end. But this is a character that never speaks, not one line of dialogue in the whole series. But they make you care about him with in different little ways like that. So that's kind of and you made me think of it with the grog thing, because it's just there are elements to it like that where it's there's
just goofy.
Yeah, there's absolutely goofy elements to it.
Well, would you say that with Star Trek, do you think that Deep Space Nine would be a good entry point, because it sounds like it's much more easier to digest than just
I would say that
wacky, the full sci-fi. It's got wacky elements to help pull you in and be like, oh wow, this is interesting.
Yeah,
I actually give a shit about what's happening.
Yeah, and especially the characters for instance the Ferengi, they represent they're a diminutive alien race that only cares about profit. They worship money, and they're always chasing money, and so they represent capitalism and all this stuff. But they're used as comic relief throughout Deep Space Nine, and it's done very well. And I would say that Deep Space Nine is a good entry point. It's a little easier to digest than certainly something like Voyager, which I've kind of just recently gotten exposed to. I'm moving through that, and the Next Generation. Obviously, that's really Patrick Stewart is the appeal of that, and Data, Brent Spiner, those are the two characters, and the philosophical stuff. That's the crux of like Next Generation. But Deep Space Nine, it's a lot. The world is a lot fuller. It's just there's characters that make the whole thing more well rounded, and it is a little. I think it's a little bit easier to just kind of flow through. There is some crossover, so you might you get references, or you might like things from the Next Generation characters and whatnot, but none of that is crucial to the plot of Deep Space Nine. You won't be missing anything if you start with Deep Space Nine. So that's if you're so inclined, check that out. Star Trek Deep Space Nine from the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I watched.
Fascinating.
I liked it. How about you, man? What have you been up to?
Well, I've honestly been here for the last couple days.
Oh, you were here when I showed up. I just figured that you showed up like 20 minutes before I did.
No, like Scurv came up to me like after our poker game, and he just felt like he needed a friend. So I kind of invited myself in, and
okay.
you know, I'm not really allowed back into the Freak clinic. I still hang out with Freak, but Freak doesn't want me in the clinic anymore.
Oh, you've maintained your friendship, but he won't allow you in the clinic.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's we're a little rocky. I'm still trying to, push my way back into his life.
There's a big accident in that basement. I know it took him a while to clean it up, I think.
Yeah, it was a big mess. Killa's not allowed back in the free clinic as well.
Sure.
Which is a real shame. He's a great guy. He's an amazing wrestler.
So you say.
He's so talented.
Again, but I've never seen you two in the same room at the same time, though.
It's because
That's the
he's
thing.
touring right now. He's in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I heard that he's going up to the mountains.
Ah.
Yeah. But in any case, while I've been here and, Scurv isn't, eating. Hey, Scurv, how many ice cream sandwiches have you had since we started recording?
16.
All right, man, you gotta stop.
Cool it. Your face is very white. You look white right now. And stop, don't cry while you're eating. You know what I mean? Like, don't. That's not good. It's not good for the digestion. You got it all over your
Wait,
face.
get
bud.
back. All right. Well,
He really does need to. It's good of it's good of you.
it's
to
a
have
good thing
stayed
he's
here.
been a sad boy because I can do whatever the fuck I want. He hasn't given a shit.
Yeah, that's nice. You take advantage of the situation.
I annihilated that bathroom. It was like the first toilet I've had for like a good solid
so
2
you're
weeks.
responsible for the out of order sign on that door right now.
I made it myself.
Okay,
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's nice. It's nice.
But in any case, while I've been here, I've just been perusing on his like Netflix and his Hulus and whatnot.
Sure.
Just going over like whatever like weird garbage he's got. When I noticed that there's a new show out on Netflix right now, and the first thing that caught my eye was, whoa. Killer Mike.
Oh,
Of Run the Jewel fame?
yes.
Squeeze me?
He has a Netflix show.
He does.
It's a trigger warning.
Oh,
So look out, conservatards, because we're coming for you.
Oh, is this a political show?
Yes. So, Killer Mike's trigger warning. It's a new documentary-styled show starring Killer Mike, talking about racism, education, pretty much everything that involves America's culture through the lenses of a black man, like a black philosopher, because Killer Mike is very much into philosophies. He's deep into politics. Him and LP of Run the Jewels fame, like they are very heavy into politics. They're good friends with Bernie Sanders.
Yeah,
especially Killer Mike.
I saw Killer Mike on Bill Maher had him on his show.
where Killer Mike was like, "You need to shut the fuck up."
That was during Bill Maher's apology tour after he fucked up and said what he said.
After he said the N-word,
And yes.
thinking that he could get away with it.
He called himself a house N-word. That's what he said. And then like
Hard R.
for the next like 8 weeks, or well maybe not 8, it was like 4 or 5. He had a different black person on who basically had an opportunity to tell him like how bad he fucked up.
Killer Mike's was incredible.
It was good.
I hate Bill Maher, so just seeing people like slam dunk him, I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah,
Bill Maher.
I like Bill Maher definitely, but he definitely did fuck up, and I could tell that like that was a move that one of his producers made. Like he was told by HBO, yeah, you're gonna have to fix this.
You gotta save face, man, because that was fucking dumb.
And that's what he had to do. So yeah, I saw Killer Mike on there, and yes, that I became more familiar through that with his his thoughts, with like his positions on various issues, and it's just clear that he's passionate, he's informed, and he's definitely into politics for sure.
And aside from the point of Killer Mike and LP on their own, they're two amazing rappers. Together, they're incredible. Run the Jewels has been like in my like playlists on like Spotify or whatever for the last like 3-4 years. I adore them. I saw them at Riot Fest last year.
Me too. Yeah, it was a great show.
It was amazing.
Fantastic show.
It was so good. I videotaped a ton of it on my hand.
Nice.
I was like, fuck yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
That's the best thing.
I had to push away a bunch of teenagers, though, and I was like, get the fuck out of my way.
It's the best part.
Killer Mike and LP are on stage right now.
Stop screaming.
Stop it.
You're
Be
ruining
quiet.
my video quality.
You're ruining lie, cheat, steal.
Don't you react to this.
Get the fuck away.
Don't have a good time.
Get your selfie stick out of here.
And you started the riot at Riot Fest.
I sure did.
Nice.
But in any case, Trigger Warning is a 6-episode kind of documentary, kind of staged. It feels very staged in a lot of the later episodes of Killer Mike going through American culture and just doing things his way and seeing if his ideologies would actually work in an American civilization.
Interesting.
So the very first episode is him trying to live black for 50 hours. Or no, it was for 3 days he needs to live black. So what that
meaning?
So he could only purchase things from black communities, from black farmers, black store owners, black automotive owners. Anything that supported the black economy in the United States.
Gotcha.
The problem is that there's so little black economics in the United States.
Yeah.
It was very hard for him to find food or places to sleep.
I was just thinking, like, remember, like, when people went, like, imagine the first people who started going vegan, like, before anybody else was doing it, like, try and find those options at places, like, to go eat. Like,
yeah, good luck. Anyone does those,
that.
like, fucking fad diets, like keto or whatever.
Right.
Like, you're safer now, but trying to do that maybe, like, 5-6 years ago, oof.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
Fucked.
Yeah, your options are so limited. It made me think of that with Killer Mike, like, trying to live within those parameters and those limits. Like, that is not easy. Like, that's problematic.
It was really, really interesting. It felt very staged at a lot of points during the entire show.
Yeah.
But it was so interesting for him to discover like black owned farms, which I thought was very cool. He did one episode that I thought was fucking hilarious. He went to a school and he was like, we need to start teaching kids to stop dreaming and need them to actually learn how to do skills.
Right.
So
Mike Rowe says the same thing all the time, the Dirty Jobs guy. That's one of his parameters. He's just like, the whole thing that we're teaching kids now.
The American dream is bullshit.
Yeah,
We
that
need
phrase,
to teach them,
follow your passion. He's like, stop fucking saying that to kids. Like, you find a skill, get a job, and get out there and do it. Yeah.
He went to an elementary school, and for a couple hours he was with a bunch of kindergartners, and he goes around in this circle and he was like, all right, what do you want to be when you grow up? And this super excited little ginger hair boy, it's like, I'm gonna be a scientist and cure cancer, and I'm gonna be the president. And then he's like, okay, all right. Well, you need to stop thinking about that, and you need to start thinking about trades. So he brought in this trade worker who learned how to do a bunch of shit from YouTube, and they teach kids how to put a sink together.
Nice! Oh, that's great.
So afterwards,
I don't know how to do that.
Afterwards, he goes to meet with the principal, and he was basically like, algebra's bullshit. Fucking school is bullshit. Teach them how to lay down carpeting.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't think that would work for kindergartners. What you're asking might sound more needed for young adults.
Yeah, high school age, junior high school.
And then he was like, you know what? That's actually a smart idea. So he went around on the streets and picked up like 8 or 9 people and brought them to a studio to ask about their education level. They're all unemployed. And he's like, all right, what do you want to do with your life? So it was all like, I want to be an actor. I want to be in music. I want to be a music producer. And he immediately went, as someone who works in the music industry, you're not gonna make it. Just like every single person in that room, he fucking shut them down.
Crush,
going like,
yeah.
No.
Right. Rug,
no.
right out from under him, yeah.
And he was asking them like, oh, how do I, how do you make finding, learning how to do a trade on YouTube more entertaining? And he made the realization, he's like, what if I combine trade with porn? So
It's one way to do it.
It was a very interesting episode of him meeting with a cam girl, meeting with actual porn stars, and seeing how fucking learning trade and combining it with porn could work.
Oh my god.
So they made 3 pornos of like, all right, how to unclog a sink while the guy is getting blown.
Yeah.
You don't see any of the pornography parts because it's fucking Netflix. It's not porn.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But you see it
going
porn
on.
star like unbuckle the belt and start pulling the pants down. There's another one where like how to put in a door lock, and it's gay porn. So you just hear them both like moaning uncontrollably, and then just be like, and then you oh my ass, you put the door in the hole.
Oh, the ones who are doing the porn are also instructing on the trade?
They are doing both at the same time.
I thought it was like a host doing the
that
trade.
While there was
and
no.
The
The porn stars are teaching.
This is okay. That is
So just hearing like
different.
Oh my dick. Oh, and after it, you unclogged the sink. Oh, like that.
It is an interesting idea, certainly. Like that, it's like, asking somebody, like, it's a very formulaic, oh, how can I make this otherwise boring topic? How can I make it engaging to people?
Yeah.
Oh, what do people engage in? Porn. Okay, great. And then you just slap those two things together.
Yep.
But, like, just imagining that, like, the dialogue of 2 guys banging and then trying to instruct you how to install, like, a door lock is, like,
It's incredible.
So goofy. I'm imagining, presumably, you could, like, maybe you could see those videos on YouTube.
I don't know.
In their,
They may have uploaded those to Pornhub. I'd watch Trigger Warning first.
Yeah.
And then see if you can find it.
And then go seek for the video if you're so inclined.
We at the Boxcar Buddies are not encouraging you to watch porn, but we know you already do it.
Right. So if you're gonna, you might as well learn a skill or a trade while you're doing it.
Learn how to unclog a sink while you wank one off.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. Now, all those bad porns where, like, the pizza guy shows up, and it's like,
instead
obviously,
of the pizza guy showing up, or instead of just the plumber showing up, and then he's like, I'm going to clear your pipes.
Right.
Fuck. He's like, I'm going to clear your pipes.
He actually
and then you see him actually
clearing the pipes, and then they do fuck, but it's like he actually does clear the pipes too. This is a whole new genre of, like, trade porn. I love it. Like, this is fantastic.
It was very, very, very interesting. My favorite episode is he actually met with members of the Crips and the Bloods. And he talked about gang violence and how gang violence is it's so overblown now compared to the late 80s, early 90s. Because gang violence during the 80s and 90s was really fucking bad.
Yeah.
But gang violence now pales in comparison to fucking school shootings.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty minuscule, and finding out that the Crips and the Bloods are actually more community driven, or like gangs now, I was like, really?
Wow.
That's incredible. So
Community driven. Like
he went to Atlanta to meet with several members of the Crips and the Bloods to make sodas to sell to their communities so that they can make money to give back.
That's great.
And I thought that was really interesting because he goes to a meeting with like people to like sell the sodas. People are shutting him down left and right. He goes to one community group. It's full of white guys and one Latino, and he calls the Latino out immediately, just being like, "You're racist as hell," because you're like, you think automatically because they're Crips and Bloods that they're going to be using the money for drugs,
right?
Like they make all these wild accusations of like, "Oh, you're going to buy cocaine, Crypto-Cola, you're going to put coke in the coke, and you're going to sell it," and he's like, "That's not what's going to fucking happen."
Right?
Goddamn room full of racists.
Yeah.
Episodes like that feel real, but as the episodes start going on, the final, like the finale for the season, Killer Mike makes his own fake nation called New Africa.
Oh.
And it feels 100% staged. Like it is structured like a reality show. It's structured like Survivor,
Yeah.
and Big Brother
Sure.
and Jersey Shore, like all combined into one thing.
Yeah, he probably, some of those types of shows, I think even on Netflix, he probably got a former reality TV producer, and I'm sure that's exactly who put the show together.
But like it still didn't take away the meaning of the episode because it was about community, and because Killer Mike is very much into like togetherness. He does not want segregation. He wants community. He wants there to be communities for different races and colors, but he also wants everyone to be able to live peacefully together.
Yeah.
He does not want segregation, so that's the whole idea of New Africa. And it's a very like, it's silly because Killer Mike and LP just have amazing chemistry together.
yeah. Oh, also LP's in the show.
LP is
Okay.
only in a couple episodes. He makes a main presence in the first episode about the like, I can only eat from black farmers and black like store owners.
Right.
And I can only sleep in black owned hotels, so Holiday Inn. It's the only place I can stay. But they go on tour and he had to sleep on a park bench.
Oh, wow.
Because the town that they were in, there were no black-owned businesses. They find a barbecue joint. He's like, oh, great, I can eat this. Until he's like, where'd you get the food? He's like, at the fucking grocery store.
Oh.
And he's like, son of a bitch, I can't even eat this. And LP is just eating ribs going like, Mike.
So good. Yeah.
The show is great. It's very, very entertaining. But like I said, like the last couple episodes feel fake. Like he teams up with T-Pain to make a rap song with members of different communities. So he had that Latino guy that he called a racist, who's a member of the LGBT. He had like a albino Black Lives Matter activist, a Jewish Renaissance fair woman, and then a full-blown white supremacist.
Wow.
But that dude was like, it was almost cartoonish.
Okay.
Because like he had he was cross-eyed, and he's just like, I think that the white race is the master race. We
Okay.
built this country.
So clearly a stooge character.
I was watching that and I'm like, I understand what you're going for, but this feels fake.
Right.
It looks fake.
Right.
Like they performed during a Run the Jewels concert. Like they ended with them, like all 6 of them coming up on stage. And the white guy's final line is saying, you can't stop this white N-word, hard R.
Oh, no.
And
Here's- how would you feel if you bought tickets to that Run the Jewels show?
I would have booed.
Yeah, of course.
They
Get
didn't-
off the fucking stage. I didn't
Yeah.
come to see you, you
They-
band of misfits.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of here.
They cut to the crowd and all of them are like,
this
but
fucking island of misfits
I know
toys, man.
I forget what city they performed that in, but if it was definitely in Chicago or anywhere in LA,
Yeah,
like if it was in
that'd be
left-leaning
horrible.
cities,
Yeah.
you'd be fucked.
Absolutely.
Just hearing that fucking white supremacist
If that
guy.
happened in Chicago, that would be headline news, man.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of town with your trash, cobbled together band of rejects.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
It was obviously faked, but the message was he wants people to get out of their bubbles because it was cool. Because like Killer Mike spends time and goes to a retirement home, a like 100% white retirement home, and people welcomed him with open arms. He did Lie, Cheat, Steal with a fucking Barbershop Quartet being his
Awesome.
backup because LP wasn't there.
That's awesome.
That was hilarious.
I would watch just to see that. That sounds intriguing to me.
It's a great show. I think Killer Mike is one of the most charismatic rappers out there. I love Run the Jewels. They are an amazing group.
Yep.
It's not only because they have fucking bangers, but also their political message is fucking straight laced.
Yep.
They know what they like. And it's just interesting to hear Mike's philosophies on American culture because he's very, very smart.
Yeah, absolutely. And a message of inclusion can always get behind that. You know what I mean? Like there's people get so wrapped up in differences all the time, and it's just like, dude, I mean, if you just get a bird's eye view, like, come on, like it's better when everybody's like, let's all just, be in it together.
I mean, the overall message was like, meet someone who's not the same color as you. And I mean everyone.
Yep.
Everyone should converse with someone who's different with them.
Absolutely.
Understand their perspective.
It expands your mind. It's only going to make you a better person. Just be open-minded and listen to somebody's story. You'll always, like someone better,
Yeah.
or you'll certainly be able to understand where they're coming from just by listening to their story.
And I mean, he stuck through with it. He had a full-blown white supremacist on the
True.
show.
And that's
it
like...
felt fake, but the message was clear.
Yeah, and you don't have to be, you don't have to be one of those unfortunate people who bought a ticket to the Run the Jewels show and you see that fucking thing. You can watch the thing on Netflix, it sounds like. So that sounds like a good show.
It's very short. There's only 6 episodes and each one is about 25 minutes.
Oh, there you go.
You can
burn through that in an afternoon, man.
I burned through it like the day before we recorded this.
yeah,
I burned through it. I was like, yeah.
It's a nice, easy 6 episodes, 25 minutes apiece.
It's very
like,
easy to consume.
That's a snack. That's a snack right there. Okay, cool. So yeah, what was
Speaking of snacks, how about another ice cream?
Oh, good. Oh, let me. Oh, you know what? You know what else I found? He's got the cones. The cone.
Oh, he's got the drumsticks.
Yeah.
We are not sponsored by drumsticks, by the way.
But they're very tasty.
Yeah. Well,
was that the trigger warning? Killer Mike's trigger warning?
Killer Mike's trigger warning.
Gotcha. Okay, there you
go. Trigger warning with Killer Mike.
Gotcha. Okay.
Killer warning with Trigger Mike
on Netflix.
with Tigger.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think it's time for our favorite part of the show.
Yes.
It's time we open up the Greg's List.
That lovely treasure chest of messages from you. Anything you want to send us at all, we always appreciate it, and we try and read them back on the show, whether it's a suggestion or a question or feedback, anything at all. We love it.
Yeah. This is the part of the show where you become a Boxcar buddy with us.
Yeah.
And even though we're not in a Boxcar today, it's always a Boxcar when Don and I are together.
Yeah, we're all buds, so get in there. Get in
Perfect.
the inbox. GregsList@gmail.com.
Yep, that's 3G's Regslist at gmail.com. Well, we got a letter from Thomas. It says universes.
Universes.
Yeah, it says, Hola, amigos. I am big fan of show.
Hola,
I am
Thomas.
Also,
thank you for submitting.
Thank you, Thomas. Or Tomas.
Yeah,
I am a big fan of show. I am also a big fan of movie universes like the Marvels and Batmans.
Okay.
Which one is best? Out of all the TV and movie universes, which one is the most good?
The most good.
Yeah.
Of all the universes in movies and TV shows.
Wow.
Thomas
That's
or
huge.
Tomas, that's a big question.
Thank you,
bud.
Tomas from Joliet.
From Joliet. Thank you. Much appreciated. Always love to hear from you, and that's a very good question. The best the universe. So
I mean, you just talked about Star Trek.
I did just talk about Star Trek, and I was just thinking to myself, when you say best, what does that mean? Does that mean the most prolific? Like the most
your
like
favorite?
It's
I'm guessing
inspired-
like your favorite. Like, what's the one that you're like, yeah, I love going back to this universe. It's so fun to explore.
Yes,
and
yeah.
whatnot.
That's a great question. I have always been a big fan of Star Wars. Like we've talked about the later movies and these recent iterations, but the originals, that's a universe that I just, even to this day, am happy to go back to anytime. Any of those first 3 movies, I would watch them front to back over and over and over again. I could watch those on a loop.
Man, this one's hard for me. I've been thinking of like newer stuff that I've been like, ooh, because I want to kind of avoid the superhero stuff. I want to think of like other universes that are out there.
I think of comedy shows.
The Good Place and Parks and
Rec.
That's
and
what I was just about to say.
There you go. Those that's a perfect universe. The especially like Parks and Rec, like Pawnee, Indiana, like with that particular government. I mean, I could go back to that any time at all.
And I love that The Good Place is tied into it as well. That's a show I've been getting into. I want to talk about that, but I want to catch up first.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not very far into it.
Sure.
But I love the idea that there's a heaven and hell in the Parks and Rec world.
Yes. I love that. It's the same creator of both shows, and at least one of the creators of Parks and Rec spun off and did The Good Place. I think he worked on The Office as well. The Office is one that it's not big for me, but I know so many people who watch The Office seemingly on a loop, like just have their Netflix subscription for that alone. I would say Friends and Seinfeld seem like those big ones that people like to, not so much Seinfeld, I guess Friends I hear a lot about now, part of the 90s nostalgia,
Just trying to
think
think of shows that tie in together, just like wacky, like, whoa, what is this? Like the Pixar universe, like apparently they're all part of the same universe, which I thought was always very fun.
Yes, exactly, right, like tendrils that stretch across, different shows and movies.
Yeah.
Star Trek, since I mentioned it earlier, that is one that the overlaps and the references that they're allowed to do as characters can cross over, that is really fascinating. I do love that.
The Zelda universe, I think, is very interesting. The fact that there's 3 separate timelines happening.
Yeah.
Which I thought, like, I found that out. Like, The Legend of Zelda has, like, a point from, I think it was Ocarina of Time, where it just branches into 3 different universes that have all the different games. I'm like, that's wacky.
Fascinating.
And weird. I like that.
I like, this is also a bit of a guilty pleasure, but I watched Smallville when it was live, like on CW, and that's another one that, like, it's a universe that it's very comforting to go back to. It's just
Those old WB shows all tied in together with themselves too.
Yeah, and they're still doing that now, like with Arrow and the Flash. Like they try and they do the same thing. But Smallville in particular, like that one, just it feels like going home. You know what I mean, for the holidays. Like it's very comforting in that way.
Yeah. What's another one? Ooh, the Wild Arms series I think is very interesting.
I'm not familiar with that.
It's a JRPG series where it's a Western aesthetic, which I always thought was very interesting. But all the games kind of tie in with each other, which I always thought was kind of fun.
Oh,
the games are very like okay. I like the first one and 3 like a good amount, but the others are like,
yeah,
either to yuck.
Okay, gotcha.
Where 1 and 3 are like, ooh. Interesting. Like it's cowboys, but it's still like knights and castles, which I thought was very. It's got medieval, like it's structured like a medieval world, but everything has a cowboy aesthetic.
Interesting.
And they all tie in with each other because of like the same, like the names of like big name locations are the same, like hidden temples. And they all have this shared history of like, hey, there was an ancient civilization that fucked over the world, basically caused a worldwide drought. And that's why everyone's cowboys.
Interesting. Okay.
And I thought that was it's part of one series, but the fact that all the games kind of like tie in with each other, I always thought was pretty fun.
I liked. I thought of a couple of books in there. I guess these are less in the universe turned, but it just made me think of like how an author can just create like their world, like all the like the Discworld series. Like that's one that
the fact that there's like 7 or 8 different protagonists, but it's just one conjoined world.
Yeah, and all these different
characters
books
will just pop up.
Yeah, like the overlap there.
I read,
great.
I think it was Guards, and all of a sudden Death just shows up, and he's like, "Sup, boys?"
Yeah, and
Death.
and if you've read the other books, like that's rewarding to you because you're like, oh, that I know that character. And
I know Death.
Yeah,
he's my favorite.
He's so happy.
He's just a skeleton that speaks in your brain,
and he's so comedic.
He loves curry and cats.
Indeed, he loves cats. That's right. What else was I thinking of though? The books. No, I had one though too. So Neil Gaiman in terms of books, that was another one.
Oh, what's that Star show? The Star show that's happening right now.
Oh, American Gods.
American Gods.
Yes, absolutely.
That has a branched universe.
Yes, it does. The TV series, obviously, and then Neil Gaiman's unofficial sequel to it, book form, was Anansi Boys. That one also is kind of a spin-off there. So those characters as well, very, very, very
What about
good.
He-Man and She-Ra?
Oh,
don't you love them together?
He-Man, yeah. Oh, I did. I loved some He-Man. What was that? I also liked Jason and the Argonauts. Do you remember that old animation show? Did you ever see that?
I didn't. I don't watch the anime. Oh, or you mean like the old like Criterion movie?
Yeah. Old stuff. He-Man makes me think of that, like for whatever reason, all the time.
Like you can even think of like mythologies, and they can be like a wide universe. Like
absolutely,
look at like fucking Norse
mythology.
North mythology.
Norse mythologies.
Misogyny.
Everyone knows about Norse misogyny.
Odin just fucked everything,
and it's my right. As
Cheater.
A man. Cheater! It's cold outside.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
So yeah, those are and Thomas, in terms of your question, like what are the most good universes? I think those are definitely a collection of some very good ones. But it was a great question in terms of like the overlapping of different works of art or content. Like those universes are those are some of the ones like with Parks and Rec and Good Place, and then even just a universe that you enjoy existing into, like going back to a show that a world that's created that's comfortable to you. Like I mentioned, Smallville, Frasier's another one of those that like just feels.
Oh yeah,
very
Frasier and Cheers.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
keep forgetting that they're part of the same thing.
Exactly. A spin-off.
What
that
about
way.
Sheldon and Young Sheldon and Big Bang Theory? Don't you love that expanded universe?
I do not personally. I've heard Young Sheldon is supposed to be a good show, but that's probably the same people who said Big Bang is a good show. So
yeah, people who say Big Bang Theory is a good show, I don't want you listening to us.
it's literally one of those things where I'm like, when someone says that to me, it's like it's like my brain leaps forward into knowing you better, and I don't want anything to do with you.
This is what nerd culture is like, right? They just scream catchphrases. Yes.
Lord of the Rings, Gollum,
Hey guys, I sure do love the Pokemon,
Quantum Theory.
Quantum Theory, and Star Trek,
Look at my glasses.
Thundercats,
Oh.
Bazoople, Bing Bong Goople.
Yeah, not a great universe. That one. That's
No.
an example of.
What about Steven Universe? What a big universe that one is.
Mm.
Actually, it's only contained in one thing.
Damn it!
Shit.
It's a world.
What
It's a
about
planet.
that? What about that old '80s PSA, like the cartoon, like anti-drug PSA, where it was Bugs Bunny and Winnie the Pooh and Slimer and Alvin and the Chipmunks?
What in the world?
You
is
never heard of this?
No.
Oh my god, this thing is garbage.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
It's an anti-weed, it's an anti-drug, like PSA cartoon.
One of
from
those
the 80s.
classic Reefer Madness kind of things.
Yes.
Dare.
But it had almost every single known IP cartoon character ever
The
in
most
it.
ambitious
It was
crossover ever.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Like Alvin and the Chipmunks, Winnie the Pooh, Scooby-Doo,
Dude.
Bugs Bunny,
All telling you not to do drugs.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
All of your
Just-
favorite cartoon characters lying to you.
I think it might have been before Mel Blanc died.
Whoa.
So he's Bugs Bunny going, ew, yuck, a reefer. Or it might have been Billy West, because it was like mid-'80s.
Love
And
those.
It's atrocious.
One more that just popped up in my head that it was a big one. I can't believe I missed so far was the Harry Potter universe. That one is that's
and the Grindelwald.
yeah, exactly. The spin-off movies, the movies themselves, the books, obviously, all of those that content there. That's a universe that's successful and rightfully so, I think.
Yeah, interesting.
So yeah, thanks for the question, Thomas. That was an insightful one and definitely prompted some good discussion. So again, you can anybody can jump in on that at goodgoodgregslist@gmail.com. Holy shit.
It's only January 21st.
Hey, Scurvy, when's the last time you looked at these? When's the last time you looked at the expiration date on these ice cream sandwiches, bud?
I don't know if they were a gift.
Yeah, this one here, this wrapper, this says best by October 2017. So,
Well, I mean, they've been frozen. I think they've been fine.
what do you think, Scurvy?
I want to die.
I just don't know if is that physical? Is it mental?
Samantha, why won't you love me during January?
Oh, Scurvy. Okay, well, we got to, Greg and I are going to have to deal with this. I think maybe Scurvy, I don't know if it's mental or if it's physical.
I think we should let him take care of this himself.
Himself? Yeah, you know, why don't we get out of here?
It's a you problem.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, Scurv, listen, Greg and I got to dip.
Hey,
we got to go somewhere, okay?
Scurv, I gotta tell you, cry somewhere else.
Oh, you want to stay? You want us to stay here? And Scurvy can just go? Yeah, okay. Scurvy, hey. Yeah, Scurv, listen, bud, you should really get checked out at the free clinic, okay?
Check this out. I have a Benjamin. A big old Benjamin.
Where did you fucking get that?
Shut up.
Oh, my God.
Shut up. Take this Benji, and how about you have yourself a nice drinky? And you can have all the ice cream sandwiches you could ever want.
Take it, Scurv.
I said take it. I said take the money.
Don't blow your fucking nose in it either. That's disgusting.
And don't use it to take care of your fucking...
It's not a Kleenex.
Tears.
It's currency.
If you don't hear from me, tell my wife I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's great. We'll do. See you, pal. Have a great time.
Take care of it.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, that's a great idea. Now we got to hang out in this place.
Oh man, we've got ourselves a nice little
This is a nice little
staycation.
den right here, dude. Oh god, they got Swedish fish, and fucking there's hot dogs on the roller, dude. This is amazing.
Why does he have hot dogs on a roller? This is just a fucking holiday store.
Yeah, I know.
This guy's weird.
I know.
All right,
We're gonna eat all of his food.
We're gonna have some snackies.
We're gonna eat all of his food.
I paid a good amount for these snackies, so
Yeah, we're gonna stay here.
I can't believe it.
And
an
we've-
episode we've ended on time, and not only that, I haven't been hurt.
Yeah, you have not been hurt. I have not. We handled the scurvy situation very well, I think. And now we've got a little den, and we can watch like Netflix. We can do anything we need to. We got a content. We got a base. We have a base.
A main base of operations. I think we should declare this our new Boxcar.
This is fantastic. This is wonderful. This has been a great day.
I can't believe it. New year, new us.
We hope that you have as wonderful of a day as we've had here, and as wonderful of a week. And we will definitely touch base again with you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Catch you later, friendos. I'm gonna have a couple hot dogs.
Yeah. Swedish fish. Have a Swedish fish too. Yeah. Tasty. Gummy worms, everything.
Oh my God, tampons!
Q-tips too. Glass. The window. Eating the window now.
This house is like it's made of gingerbread, but real thing.
Oh, my tongue and my gums are bleeding.
What you just heard was a fantasy, a fiction cooked up for your amusement and the catharsis of the hosts. Please, have mercy on them.